Shalom to elect Israel, to the hopeful elect Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negro, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, foreign Israelites of the other nations scattered across four corners of the earth. I want to give all praise to Barak, Barak, Yahawah. Double honors to those and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect. I just wanted to put this up here. This is, the 12 tribe chart, also including, what the names actually mean too. So I'll just read them to them, and then I'll do a little precept, and then we'll close out. So you got Judah, which is Yahawah, and what that name means is the water Yahawah, so-called Negroes. Benjamin Banyamyam, son of the right, which is so-called Jamaicans. Levi, which is Lawiya, joined unto him, which is the so-called Haitians. Ephraim, which is Apariam, which means fruitful, so-called Puerto Ricans. Simeon, which is Shemaiwan, so-called Dominicans. Reuben, which is Rawban, which means sea is the sun. This is talking about the Seminole Indians, because basically this sea is the sun because Reuben was basically Jacob's firstborn. But, Reuben was his firstborn, but Judah was the one who, the seed line, that was the seed line Yahawashi was going to come out of. That's why the name is the water Yahawah, for that seed line, because that was how we were able to get saved, through Yahawashi coming through that lineage. To Naphthalia, which means my wrestling. Argentina, Chile, so-called Argentinians, the Chileans. Ashur, which is Ashar, which means happy, which is Colombia, the Uruguay. Gad, which is basically God. A troop, which is just Native Americans. Manasseh, which is Manashah, which means made to forget, so-called Cubans. Zebulon, which is Zabalawan, which is my dwelling, Guatemala to Panama. Issachar, which is Yashakar, which means he is hired, which is the so-called Mexican. That's why you got, Issachar. That's why you always see them. They be the ones building all the houses real fast. That's why I named that. So we'll just do a precept, and then we'll close out. So give me a second. Do a few of them. So let me see if this actually, if you can see it. Okay, let me pull it up. No, that's not it. Hold on. Let's see how to change it. I think it's right there. It's going a little slow. Might have to enter it in again. All right, give me a sec. All right. So going back to it, this is Ezekiel 37, verse 19. Say unto them, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahawashi, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel and his fellows, right, which is going into the 12 tribes, which is going into the northern kingdom, the other 10, 10 tribes, really going into 9 tribes, because Judah, Benjamin, Levi are the southern kingdom, okay, which is basically the rulers of Judah, or rulers of Israel, the head tribes. Then you got Ephraim, which is the head basically of the northern kingdom. Okay, that's when we was talking about earlier with, Solomon's sons, uh, Jeroboam and Rehoboam. Rehoboam was southern kingdom; he was a Judite, and then Jeroboam was an Ephraimite. Okay, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and I will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. So this is why we were saying, this is why we show the 12 tribes chart, because it's that scripture that all of them would be joined together, and they would also be we would come together, and it was the last captivity, we would be together. And like we said, they were over here for a while, and we were over there, and the east still going through Babylon and various other captivities until we were besieged in Rome in 70 AD, and then we were brought over here. So I'm gonna put one more. This is the only time this place right here. This is the place here where this is the only captivity that we've both been involved, like been in captivity together. So we'll start right here in Jeremiah 50. We're going into 50th chapter earlier. Jeremiah 50:31. Behold, I am against thee, O thou most proud, saith the Lord Bahasham of hosts, talking about Lord of armies. For the day has come that I will visit thee, and the most proud shall stumble and fall, and none shall raise him up. And I will kindle a fire in his cities, and it shall devour all around about him. That's what happened to us. Okay? That's what happened to us. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, talking about Yahawashi, really talking about Yahawah right here with all caps. It says the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captives held them fast, and they refused to let them go. So that's over here. Okay. That's why it says, verse 34, the Redeemer is strong, the Lord of hosts is his name. He shall thoroughly plead their cause, that he may give them rest, that he may give rest to the land and disquiet the inhabitants of Babylon. That's talking about over here. That's a future prophecy. And it also speaks of this in the Apocrypha. Let me see if I can find it. Let's see. Right. Doesn't necessarily. I'll just go to that. I was thinking this might have said it, but this is what it. This is what it says. It's the one I was going to go to, but I was going to see if there's another one. But this is Barak chapter 3, verse 8. This is basically going into that Jeremiah 50, that we just read. Okay, around the 30th verse. This is talking about us being oppressed here. Baruch chapter 3, verse 8. Behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us. Right? So this is going into right now. Okay? Because we got scattered. Because we were all together, we split. They came over here during the time of Solomon Nazar and, the time of Sargon II, the time of Hosea the king, around 700 some BC. They came over here, and then, around 70 AD, we were brought over here. Okay. After, the besiege of Israel, starting with, leading off to the Atlantic slave trade. So behold, we are yet this day in our captivity, where thou hast scattered us for a reproach and a curse, and to be subject to payments, according to all the iniquities of our fathers, which is basically, us. We're paying for whatever we did in those days. So the iniquities of our fathers, which departed from the Lord our power. And, to make proof of that, right here, Ezekiel chapter 18, verse 20, 18, verse 20. The soul that sinneth, it shall die. The son shall not bear the iniquity of the father, neither shall the father bear the iniquity of the son. The righteousness of the righteous shall be, the righteousness of the righteous shall be upon him, and the wickedness of the wicked shall be upon him. So we pay for our own sins. You don't pay for somebody else's sins. Yahawashi was the only one to come down and, pay for somebody else's sins, and knows who he paid for was the elect, and that was it. He didn't die for everybody. So that just kind of shows that, when it talks about, according to the iniquities of our forefathers, we are our forefathers. We're paying for our own sins. So, yep, we'll just leave it at there. And that'll give you a chart and just a little bit more precepts with it. So, Lord, want us to edify to the flock. Shalom, elect to Israel. Peace and blessings to the elect. Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.